We'll see it. Wait, is it one of the in one of the DMs or what if the fourth plane hits the target? Is it this one?
93,
Wait, this one could be fire actually. Let's watch this one.
That aircraft you can't get a hold of. Is he turned to the east now? He's just turned to the east also. United 93, you're here Cleveland Center. Okay, American 10-6 and executive 956, we just lost the target on that aircraft.
I'll rather erase my brain for every time watching you play Eraser than you play Razor. No pun intended.
Yo, come on, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
With this standby. Do you have a visual on him now? We did, but we lost him at the turn. You can make a turn back to a 220 heading. Let me know if you can see him.
On September 11th, 2001, 4 planes were hijacked. 3 of them hit their intended targets, and the 4th one, well, did not. United 93 was the last to be hijacked. Its passengers knew full well what was going on about the attacks in New York and Washington, and they knew they were next.
Damn.
So, in a last-ditch effort, there was a fight between the terrorists and passengers to retake the plane. The plane took a nosedive and plummeted right into a field in Pennsylvania. The tragedy of that day and the scale of it was so much that just the simple crash of 93 is often not talked about except for the heroic act of the civilians on it. But it easily could have been far different. United 93 had a target. Each plane hijacked was intended to destroy a testament to American prestige, the largest towers in New York, the military headquarters of America, and another building left instead untouched. So what can be imagined is, what if in some alternate timeline United 93 wasn't overtaken? What if it actually reached and crashed into its intended target? How different would 9/11 be? Before I talk about how things could have been different, we need to talk about one thing. Something that determined the entire day. The flight schedule. The 4 planes chosen to be hijacked all had one thing in common. They all were to depart the airport around 8 a.m. The 2 planes that hit the Twin Towers...
you know what this is when videos start to get interesting. I like when they start adding music into the background, you know what I'm saying?
Flight 11 and 175 both departed from
You're
Logan
like those little
International
keys getting
Airport
played?
in Boston. 11 took off at 8 with no delays
My
on
grandma
schedule.
is on her plane RN as we speak.
Shut the hell, we're trying to watch something, buddy. Wait, she's on a plane right now? As we're watching a video about planes crashing? Greg, I would get off the stream, buddy, because this might be a sign. I would call your grandmother, buddy.
It was the first plane to be hijacked. United 175 had a slight delay
and
and departed at 8:14. At the same time, Flight 11 went silent. Flight 77 was to depart from Dulles, Virginia at 8:10, but there was a delay and it took off at 8:20. Flight 11, being the only plane on schedule, was the first to hit its target, the North Tower, at 8:46, followed by 175 into the South Tower at 9:03, and 77 into the Pentagon roughly 40 minutes later at 9:37. United Airlines Flight 93 was a different story. While the other planes had taken off and been hijacked, 93 was still stuck in Newark International Airport in New Jersey due to congestion.
Wait, so these motherfuckers were in New Jersey? I don't know where all the planes were, but I'm gonna be honest. Oh, that everybody now seeing this live on TV. I'm pretty sure almost everybody was that was watching this shit. You know what I mean? That's wild, bro. A commercial plane, like it's not even like a private plane, like a private jet or anything like that. They got hijacked. That's like
with Reed Herb doing
those
worse,
are like
but could
motherfucker. Those are like people, like the people in the plane, people in the top. You know what I mean? That shit's like crazy that even happened. I'm not gonna lie.
93 didn't take
That is wild.
off until 8:42, roughly the same time 11 hit the North Tower. Because of this delay, the plane wasn't hijacked until 9:28, 30 minutes after the South Tower was hit. The element of surprise was lost as news came about the other hijackings. The passengers and crew knew full well what the terrorists had in store and took action. 93 never made it to its target and crashed into a field outside of Shanksville. So with that information, an ominous question arises. What if 93 departed on time like the others? In this alternate timeline, all the planes take off around the same time. 93 leaves Newark at 8 a.m. Flight 11 was hijacked in 14 minutes, 175 and 77 in 30 minutes, but 93 was once again slower, being hijacked in roughly 45 minutes. 93 in this alternate timeline is hijacked in 45 minutes after takeoff as well, assuming it's just as slow. This would be around 8:45, the same time flight 17.
Dude, what's with all these time numbers, buddy? Holy shit, I'm trying to, like, lock in, like, I'm getting distracted by the numbers here.
75 is hijacked, and right when 11 hits the North Tower.
Okay.
93 then turns around as 77 is hijacked, and
shit.
by the time the South Tower is hit, it is already over Pennsylvania.
Alright, so we're just showing the video now casually.
Yeah. By 9:10, it is past the
I got a
field
Twitch stream to run.
where it crashed in our timeline. Since Flight 93 is right on time, there is never a passenger revolt because nobody knows what's going on. And so, by 9:30, Flight 93...
Oh shit, so if there wasn't a delay, this is crazy, because this could have definitely happened, like, no revolt, because yeah, they didn't know what was going on, like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so if there was no delays, and there's nothing getting fucked for their plan, so if their plan actually worked, this is, like, if their plan actually worked, this is what could be happening right now.
3 crashes into the Capitol building, or the White House. 7 minutes later, 77 hits the Pentagon. Now, this is with the assumption that 93 will be hijacked just as slowly in our timeline. Nobody really knows why the hijackers waited so long, and since I couldn't find a reason, I'm going to assume that the plane hijacking will be in 45 minutes in this alternate timeline as well. Maybe they got cold feet, I don't know. Since there were 2 potential targets that 93 could have hit.
My uncle was an hour late to one of the planes that was hijacked. Are we believing this? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but do you believe your uncle when he says that shit, bro? I feel like there's always that one uncle that's unmarried that says some shit like that.
I'm splitting the scenario in 2, so here we go. The idea I had when researching this video was that even if these 2 structures were hit, the casualties would be low, considering the White House was evacuated right after the South Tower was hit. Well,
damn.
That actually was only
Believe
half
or
true.
don't believe, but my uncle was late.
Evacuation
Okay,
was really
alright.
kind of half-assed when ordered at 9:20. It wasn't until the Pentagon was hit when the Secret Service agents started yelling for people to run out of the building. Even if 93 was slow to hijack by 45 minutes, it would have been the first plane to hit DC instead of Flight 77. The Secret Service would be on the lookout and have prior warning, but only by a few minutes. At 9:30, Flight 93 hits the White House as the delayed evacuation is taking place. Considering the small size of the building compared to a plane, it's destroyed in the blast. Most of the casualties are inside the building, but many are on the south lawn. Despite the danger, many stayed to move tables away so that the president could land when he came back. If the plane had actually hit, then this would have been needless deaths. Cheney and other high-ranking executive politicians in the White House that day would have only a few minutes earlier evacuated to an underground bunker. It's not only a human tragedy, but the symbol of the American presidency is destroyed. Instead of talking to the American people from the Oval Office, George W. Bush instead does it from a makeshift office somewhere in DC. Really, the context of the following war on terror is changed, as Bush is the first president in centuries to not be serving in the building.
Huh. Huh.
The Capitol was not evacuated at all before the Pentagon was hit. In fact, it wasn't until Flight 77 hit Washington until DC even reacted at all. At 9:30 a.m., Flight 93 hits the US Capitol building. The impact destroys the rotunda, which would be the easiest part to hit, and the dome of the building collapses. If the dome was to collapse, it'd destroy the center of the building, and this is where most of the casualties would be. By looking at the layout of the building, the two houses are on opposite ends. If the rotunda was to collapse, then the actual legislative part of the government might go unharmed. It's likely the majority of the casualties would be tourists, office workers in the center, and guides. While not as many
Damn.
would die in this attack, and the actual legislative
actually
hit
know a
wouldn't be
lot about
drastic,
9/11.
the
Let's do a
symbolism
count.
of the Capitol being destroyed would become the symbol of a new America. In terms of practical changes from either of these buildings being hit, legislation might be more radical. There is no story of American heroes sacrificing themselves to save others. Instead, there is just a nation left blindsided as its greatest monuments are destroyed. The White House or Capitol being destroyed could have been the most significant event of 9/11. It represents how different the United States truly was now. The government replaces those who are lost and stays the same. However, the spirit of that government is drastically altered, even compared to our timeline. Just think of everything post 9/11 and imagine it more extreme. Imagine growing up and never seeing the US Capitol building. Instead, we do see the Capitol today. And the White House.
W. Hell
We're still
yeah.
standing. Simply because an airport was delayed by 40 minutes.
Hell yeah. That was a good video, man. Wither, thank you for that video, man.
There are pieces of the Twin Towers in one of my town's museum.
Really, really. Well, how'd they get them then? Elkas, I don't even know where you're from, brother. What is this?